house of the Lord. Again, I thank you for coming out here tonight. I know those of us that are here are going to be blessed. We're going to move right into who our speaker is going to be. I mentioned him already, but Brother Jim Thomas, somebody that, has deep roots in this place, has been a part of, the foundation of this work, and honestly, a part of the foundation of many, many believers in this region and area. And so I'm thrilled to introduce Brother Jim Thomas. Would you come up? Let's give him some honor here tonight for bringing the word of the Lord.
All right. So I'll try to pick out some of the most important things that I wanted to say. In the Old Testament, well, let's just say this. You know that, and maybe Scott pointed all this out last week. I didn't get to hear him because I had COVID last week. So, we know that every gift in the traditional church is called the pastor. All of the five are one. Okay. And so it's almost like when you teach on it, you think, well, everybody knows what a pastor is. Well, the truth is, when you've diluted it so bad, we really don't really understand that this one part is the pastor. And so, anyways, if I can help make that clear, that's what I want to do tonight. In the Old Testament, there were two names of God that really reflect the pastoral gift. One is El Shaddai, and the other is Jehovah Roy. And Scott taught on that last week. Jehovah Roy, the Lord my shepherd. So I'm not going to get in too much into the shepherding side, but I do want to talk just a little bit about El Shaddai. El Shaddai, in fact, I did not know until last night. That goes to show you how little I know about Hebrew. But the Hebrew letters are actually symbols. How many of you know that? Okay, some of you know that. So there's a word within the word, yeah, if you know what I mean. The original language, root languages, really was just people writing symbols, and then they became letters, and then they became words. I know that sounds kind of weird, but Hebrew goes back that far. It's a very root language. So there are symbols in the words. And anyways, I got to a guy who understood all that and found him on the internet because I knew a little bit about El Shaddai, but I really wanted to dig into it. And anyways, in the letters, in fact, it's so graphic that it's, the reason why you don't have a literal translation of it in the word is it's too graphic. It really means two breasts, but it's even more graphic than that. It means it's the mother side of God. Okay? It's the nourishing milk that feeds us. Are you getting this? It's the mother. See, God is big enough that when he created male and female, he just kind of took himself apart. And then he said, the two shall become one. That's like God. Okay? That's God. The two shall become one. So there is, in the fivefold ministry, there is the apostle, the prophet, and the teacher who are strongly the father side of the gifts. What we have just studied the last 3-4 weeks now is the mother side of God, which is the evangelist who is the gatherer and the pastor who is the nourisher. Okay? And another neat thing, because I just went on, because the guy kind of went down the same road I went down when he said, El Shaddai is a really female picture of God, And then he went into the word woman, and he went into the symbols and all that. And the word woman came from this thing called strong water. He said the symbols will tell you it's strong water. And he said where that came from was the water that they would put on carcasses to mix with the fat, and it actually became like the very first glue. So the strong water in the family is the glue. And how many of us men would say amen to that? The woman is the glue to the family. She wants to gather. She wants to hold. That's what she does. And so that is really the evangelist and the pastor, kind of the gatherer and the glue and the nourishing part. If you can see all of that in this picture of the name of God, it's just it is tremendous when you just think about it and meditate on it. So God gave us 2 of the 5 gifts to represent his female side. It's the gathering, the glue, and the nourishing. And I love that. I just love that picture. I love how he put those words together. I think the truth is every gifting, and let me go to whether it's an evangelist or a teacher or an apostle or a prophet, every gifting needs a little bit of pastor. It's the one gift that I can say you really can't. God has to train us all in a little bit of it. And the reason is, if you're a prophet with no mercy, you won't last long. Seriously. If you're an apostle who just rules, you see what I mean? Every gifting has to have a little bit. All of us have to acquire a little bit. And I was thinking about why you chose me for this gifting, because I'm thinking, I sent away hundreds and only gathered 20. And that's the truth. I mean, literally, I've scattered hundreds and didn't gather very, very many. And so why me? Why would you choose me? But I was thinking about it because, my main gift, it took me a long time to learn this, but my main gift is to teach. And so I had to acquire the pastor. And I'm grateful that God sent me down some roads. In fact, he sat me down for 5 years. 5 of the best years of my life, from 25 to 30. From 21 to 25 or 26, I pastored at First Mennonite downtown. And then there was this 26 to 30 age where I didn't do anything. The first couple years, I still preached a lot in different churches. And then the last 2 years was a drought. God was really putting his thumb screws down on me. And I'll never forget, he set me up. He often did. And I went to church one Sunday, terrible sermon, and I'm complaining to God. I'm saying, it's been 2 years since you've let me preach. And I'm telling you, God, I'm better than that. I can preach better than he did. Why are you having me sit on the bench? And I have to put up with that on Sunday morning. Why? Oh, you remember, I'm in my 20s, I'm still, all this junk's coming out of me, And I'll never forget, when I poured myself out for probably an hour or so, and then I got quiet. And then the Lord got quiet. It was like quiet. And then if I've ever heard the Lord's voice, he said to me, Jim, I have thousands who want to preach. I don't have very many that want to love. So I'm asking you, you just love people. He broke me right in the workplace, as he did so many times at MGLO, and those guys thought I was nuts. I started weeping and crying. I couldn't believe the ugliness I saw in my heart. And I could not believe the purity that God was calling me to. Did he care about how well I preached? No. He cared. He wasn't going to send me out till he knew he had my heart. Until he knew that I loved people. And my main gift's not the pastor. See, I had to have that. He had to set me down. He had to deal with me. And then and then by his grace, I received some of that. Because I needed that. Because to be a teacher without any pastoralness in you, that's like the letter of the law. I mean, that's what you would be like. And there's no variation. And you see what I mean? You've all met people who've lacked a little bit of pastor. And you know it right away. I mean, and they might have a gift of, I remember a guy, I tried and tried. I worked with them for years. He was a prophet, and he really was. But I tried to teach him how to love people and put people first. And I failed. I mean, God failed, I failed, whoever failed, somebody failed. He ended up leaving, and he died a couple years ago and never had a ministry. I mean, he always dreamed of wanting a ministry and having a ministry. And if I've ever felt bad for a guy, I felt bad for him. But he could not develop any pastoral sense of being for people rather than being the guy. I don't care what gift you have. You can't just strictly be a teacher or strictly be a prophet. You have to acquire some pastor in you. I got 5 more minutes. I was gonna read Romans 14, but I'm gonna bypass that. But that would be your scripture for the night. Romans 14 is probably one of Paul's most pastoral passages. If you know anything about Romans 14, it's just about, it's like if Mom was here tonight, you know what she'd say? Now, kids, you all get along with each other. Okay? That's what seriously. That's what you don't want to hear the bickering and the, I was thinking a lot about, what makes a family a really good family and what makes a family toxic. And what it really comes down to is just the ability to love and forgive. Have a short memory versus a family that's toxic remembers everything you ever did and can't let you out of that box and tells you that over and over. You see what I mean? And it's not like one's the sinner and the other. They're both sinners. We both made mistakes. But some families get over it. Some families forgive, and they wash and they cleanse, and they actually love each other and like to get together. And others can't. Every time they get together, some of us are in one of each of those kinds of families, huh? And you know what I'm talking about. Romans 14 is, have some mercy upon somebody who's different than you. That's Romans 14. Someone eats meat, someone doesn't eat meat. Someone goes to the feast, someone doesn't go to the feast. Does everybody have to be like you? Does everybody have to think like you? Does everybody have to be rigid like you? Can't we all get along? That's the pastor's motto. What is a true pastor? What giftings does he have? Real quick. Obviously, he has patience, he has mercy. He has the gift of hospitality, or he or she. I don't want to say he. The gift of hospitality. Romans 15 is like Romans 14. Welcome. Welcome. One of the biggest words. And I'll say this really quick because she had such an impression on me. We went to a church in Kansas, and they had the right person at the door meeting you when you went there. And she was the best I've ever met. I have been hugged and, oh, welcome, brother. I've had, I've been to church for a long time. I've had all kinds of welcomes, okay? But this woman, she met me once. The next Sunday, oh, Jim. She knew my name. I don't know how she did that. This was a large church. This was not just, 20 and Jim showed up. She knew Jim and Sherry but I mean, she had the most genuine hospitality, welcoming spirit I have ever met. And I told my wife, I said, that I've never seen anybody who was placed at the perfect place, right at the door, welcoming. And when she welcomed you, it was genuine. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the gift. It is a gift. Not everybody. I mean, you can have the gift of hospitality, but not, you know what I'm saying. Some people can bring you into the home, but that woman, she oozed it. She was good. Patience, mercy, hospitality, welcome. The number one ministry that a pastor has, and I believe this with all my heart, has the ministry of forgiveness. The one thing that they will confront more than anything else is the spirit of bitterness and unforgiveness. And if you're a true pastor, you're a light everywhere where darkness, that bitterness is. Because you are the most easygoing, welcoming. People did you bad, but you got a smile on your face. You're the pastor. You understand what I'm saying? You've got that gift. Your ministry. God put you in the family so that bitterness would not gain root in the family. You hear me? Now, there's two mistakes that you can make as a pastor, and by the thousands we've made them. And that is, some women want their house to be, they want everyone to get along, but they never want to confront the issue that's causing the problem. And so they sweep it. They sweep it. They act like it. And I'm telling you, pastors do that too. And I don't believe that's true. A true pastor is going to confront the bitterness. Going to confront the bait stick, bait of Satan. So, oftentimes, I think why is a part of the church where it's at today, in the sense that, it's so different than who we are. Let's just say it that way. Over the years, they have given in to homosexuality and things like that. They've not confronted it like we would and call it sin. They have, let's just get along. I went to meetings for years, and that was the theme of the meeting. Let's just all get along. That's not how you do it. A good pastor will bring the two people together that are having the problem, or if it's with me, as it often was when I was pastoring, you got to confront it. You got to hit it head on. And so you can really fail on the side of of just trying to get everybody to agree, but you never teach anything that's truth. And in other words, you give up truth and you give up things. And like I said, by the thousands, pastors have done that. And I'm not sure that's a good example of what we call a pastor. My sheep hear my voice. You heard that last week. He's the spirit of truth. And so good pastoring is yes, we all need to get along. Yes, I want there to be peace in the body above all else. But if that means we have to confront the bitter spirit, then we have to confront the bitter spirit. Because that's the only way you're going to have lasting peace. And we have to teach each other to forget, forgive, to let people out of boxes, to let them grow and be changed, to be transformed. And recognize that. That's a healthy family versus the unhealthy family. I've talked way too long, and I'm sorry about that. But I want to get you guys out by 8 o'clock because we know the ice storm's coming. Oh, yeah. Well, the other one would be on the other side. It would be the, I hate to use the fundamental mistake. But the fundamental pastor goes by the book and allows no variation. And so has very little mercy, has very little, I don't think, you do see both of those in the church. We've you see I'm going to preach it by the book. And no, I think real pastoring is, instead of just having, well, divorce is wrong. I'm going to sit down and I want to listen to your story. I want to hear what you've been through. And if there's been abuse, if there's things that have happened, then that might affect how I view this divorce versus just the fact that divorce is wrong. Do you understand? So you do have that on some sides. And then you have, like I said, the pastor that he just wants everybody to get along and never stands up for anything. I don't think it's either of those two. I really believe it is empathizing, it is hearing, it is listening, and then it's wanting, out of the love that you have, wanting to help that person out of that place. So the healing ministries in the church, we have a lot of them, and we focus on them, is to try to get the sheep, get the burrs out of the sheep. That's really what we're trying to do. And it's a lot of it is just about learning to forgive and let go and release. But sometimes you got to go back and revisit it, and that's painful and hard. But it's also the root way to freedom.